Anton Chigurh, the cold and mysterious antagonist of Cormac McCarthy's No Country for Old Men, is one of the most unsettling and unique characters in modern literature. He's not just a typical killer or villain, he feels more like a force of nature, something beyond reason or morality. From the start, it's clear that Chigurh doesn't operate by the same rules as other people. He doesn't show emotion, rarely raises his voice, and seems completely unaffected by guilt or fear. He's methodical, calm, and speaks in a quiet, polite tone, even while committing horrifying acts. Chigurh uses a strange and chilling weapon, a captive bolt pistol, usually used to kill cattle. This detail alone says a lot about how he sees human life. He doesn't see people as individuals with value, but as parts of a system, like animals in a slaughterhouse. To him, life and death are part of a natural order, not something governed by right or wrong. But what really makes him stand out is his twisted sense of justice. Chigurh believes deeply in fate, and he often decides whether someone lives or dies with the flip of a coin. It's not a game to him, it's a way of placing the outcome in the hands of chance, as if he's just a messenger of destiny and not personally responsible for the results. This belief system allows Chigurh to kill without remorse. When he flips a coin and asks someone to call it, he believes their fate is sealed by their answer, not by his own decision. It's a strange kind of logic, but one he follows without hesitation. He isn't driven by money or anger. He kills because he believes it's what must be done, according to the strange rules he lives by. In fact, he even kills people who betray his sense of order, including those who hired him. This internal consistency, no matter how warped, makes him even scarier, because he believes he's acting according to principle. Throughout the story, Chigurh acts as a dark reflection of Sheriff Ed Tom Bell, the aging lawman trying to make sense of a world that seems to be slipping away from him. Bell believes in old-fashioned values, honor, justice, and the clear difference between good and evil. But Chigurh doesn't fit into that worldview. He represents a new kind of violence that's unpredictable, unstoppable, and immune to traditional moral standards. This contrast is central to the novel. Bell is tired, afraid, and lost, while Chigurh moves through the world like a machine, certain of his purpose. What makes Chigurh even more frightening is how untouchable he seems. Even when he's hurt, he calmly patches himself up and disappears. Law and justice never catch up to him. He survives a terrible car crash at the end of the story, but once again slips away, vanishing into the distance like a ghost. This ending leaves readers with a deep sense of discomfort. Chigurh doesn't die, isn't punished, he just keeps going, like a storm that passes through and leaves nothing but damage behind. Anton Chigurh, in the end, is more than just a character, he's a symbol. He represents chaos, fate, and the collapse of the old ways. He forces readers to think about how fragile human ideas of justice really are, and how easily they can fall apart when faced with someone like him, someone who doesn't believe in right or wrong, only in what is meant to happen. His role in No Country for Old Men turns what could have been a simple crime story into something deeper, a story about the end of an era, the power of chance, and the darkness that can live behind a calm and polite face. Anton Chigurh's connection to fate is one of the most important and disturbing parts of No Country for Old Men. He doesn't view fate the way most people do, as something uncertain or out of reach. Instead, he treats it as a real, guiding force, something that shapes every action and decision. Chigurh doesn't just believe in fate, he acts as though he's an agent of it, as if he's been placed in the world to carry out what's already been decided. This belief drives him completely, giving him a kind of clarity and confidence that makes him all the more dangerous. The most obvious example of this is his use of the coin toss. For Chigurh, the coin isn't just a game or a tool of intimidation. It represents destiny. When he asks someone to call a coin, he's not offering a real choice. In his mind, the outcome has already been determined. The person's answer only reveals what was already written. If they guess right, they live; if they don't, they die. Chigurh sees this process as fair, more fair, in fact, than human judgment, because it removes emotion and bias. He doesn't take credit or blame for what happens. He believes he's simply following the path that fate laid out, making him see his violence as necessary, not personal. This belief system allows Chigurh to carry out brutal acts with a sense of calm. He doesn't feel guilt or question himself because he's convinced that everything is unfolding the way it's meant to. In his mind, morality doesn't matter. What matters is inevitability. He views himself as a tool, someone who enforces what must happen, no matter how cruel or senseless it seems to others. That's why he remains so composed even in the middle of chaos. He's not making choices in the usual way, he's fulfilling something already decided. Chigurh isn't just sitting back and letting fate guide him, though. He's constantly moving, making decisions, taking lives. But he does it all with the belief that his actions are part of a larger pattern, that the outcomes are already fixed. He often speaks as if events are unavoidable, using phrases like "it was always going to happen." Even when things go wrong for him, like when he's badly injured in a car accident, he doesn't panic or complain. He just treats it as another step in the story that's already been written. He patches himself up and disappears, as if nothing can truly stop him. This relationship with fate makes Chigurh the perfect contrast to Sheriff Ed Tom Bell. Bell is an old man struggling to make sense of a world that seems to be losing its values. He believes in right and wrong, in personal responsibility, and in the idea that people can choose to do good. Chigurh, on the other hand, doesn't believe in any of that. To him, people are just part of a chain of events beyond their control. This clash between their worldviews is one of the central conflicts of the story. Bell feels overwhelmed by what Chigurh represents, a world where justice doesn't always exist, and where fate can be violent, uncaring, and final. In the end, it's Chigurh's loyalty to fate that makes him so terrifying. He doesn't kill out of anger or revenge. He does it because he truly believes it's meant to happen. That makes him feel more like a force than a man, like death or time, something you can't argue with or stop. He follows his twisted logic to the end, no matter the cost, and he never doubts himself. Through Chigurh, Cormac McCarthy explores deep and unsettling questions. Are we in control of our lives? Do our choices matter? Or are we, like the victims who face Chigurh's coin, just hoping we're lucky enough to survive what's already been decided?